The following is an AZPM original production.
Arizona Science is supported by Research Corporation for Science Advancement.
For Arizona Public Media, I'm Tim Swindle, Professor Emeritus of Planetary Science at the University of Arizona, and this is Arizona Science. Joining me today is Joaquin Ruiz, the Director of Biosphere 2. Welcome, Joaquin.
Thank you.
Joaquin, you've started a fascinating new study at Biosphere 2. What's the basic question you're trying to address?
Well, this is the hypothesis. There is an explosion in immunodeficiency diseases. Obviously, the one that everybody hears about is diabetes, but there's Crohn's disease and there's a plethora of diseases with complicated names. But they all seem to emanate from problems with the microbiome in our body. So microbiome, which is the largest organ in our body, and everybody now knows that it has to do all the way from mental health to obviously stomach diseases, but it also affects every part of the body that we know of. So the question then becomes, how is our microbiome related to the microbiome of the environment?
Now, when you say microbiome, it's not actually a single organism, it's a bunch of organisms,
That's
correct?
Right. That's right. So we have more bugs in our body than cells. You probably already know that. And that's what we call the microbiome. And it's that dysfunction in the microbiome that affects us in all kinds of ways.
A lot of us know Biosphere 2 is a tourist attraction, but why is it an appropriate venue for this study? What are you actually doing with the biosphere?
Sure. Well, first, it's the largest environmental observatory in the world, where we do all kinds of studies that have to do with ecological systems. For example, we just studied what happens to a rainforest when you dry it out. But the point is that we have the largest laboratory where we can manipulate the environment, and we can manipulate the environment for model programs for the medical school. So we have an entity that nobody else has in the world where we can manipulate various biomes, and then they can take those data and use in vitro experiments or the kinds of experiments that are done in biomedicine to see what the relationship is to these insults in the environment.
So in other words, you put the mice in a particular environment or a bunch of different environments,
Right,
and see how their microbiomes respond to what is going on around them.
That's right. And that would be the model system. Right.
How far along is this project?
We're at the beginning. And it's all driven by two factors. One of them is that there's an important foundation called the Wellcome Burroughs Foundation. And the Wellcome Burroughs Foundation has been mostly about biomedical diseases, mostly cancer, I would think. But they started a new program at Wellcome's Burrough in which they're going to fund 5 entities to create 5 institutes of global climate change and health. So that obviously got me going, thinking about, well, what does this actually mean? I mean, what is global climate change and health? And a lot of it has been public health, right? It's been vectors of diseases which change with global climate change. It occurred to me that nobody was really looking, at least from my vantage point, specifically about how our bodies react to global climate change. There have been some studies about heat, and of course that's a big deal. But what else, right? There's also the issue of the mice, and how does their microbiome change as a function of just the heat and the air and the chemistry of the air, and then also the food. So we're looking at both the environment and what we're eating, which is affected by the environment.
Well, good luck with all of this. It sounds fascinating.
It is a lot of fun, yeah.
Our guest today has been Joaquin Ruiz, Director of Biosphere 2, who is using the facility's unique capabilities to address questions about what happens to our microbiome in a world whose climate is changing. This is Tim Swindle, and you have been listening to Arizona Science. You can also listen to this and other Arizona Science segments by going to the AZPM website at azpm.org.
Thank you to Research Corporation for Science Advancement for their support of Arizona Science. AZPM podcasts are made possible in part by donations from listeners like you. Learn more at support.azpm.org. Thank you.